Thank you. Hi, I'm Paula Woodward, and this is John Ramsey, JonBenet's dad. I'm an investigative reporter and an author, and I've written 2 books on the JonBenet Ramsey murder. They are investigative books, and they are evidence-based. I don't try to figure out who killed her. I do try to share with you the evidence that's based on fact so that you can find out the truth. We're here for Ask Me Anything or Ask Us Anything, so let's go. Or maybe not.
Hi, I have a question over here to your left for John. So many of your happy personal experiences and memories of JonBenet via pictures and videos have been scrutinized in the media, twisting negatively. Are they still positive in your mind, and do you have any happy memories for yourself still?
I was having a little trouble hearing, but it's me, not the microphone.
Yeah, no worries. Do you still have happy memories of her, even though
absolutely.
the media has tainted a lot of your memories?
Well, no, my memories are solid, and I remember JonBenet as a 6-year-old little girl who was a bit of a tomboy, a bit of a, she had a brother, older brother, and that's how I remember. Somebody asked, well, I met a friend of hers a few years ago that was a friend of hers when she was 6, and of course the friend is now grown up, and it was kind of a shock. I thought, gee, I wonder, I can't imagine JonBenet grown up. So, but that's okay. I mean, I remember her as just a wonderful little girl, and I'm glad she was in my life.
All right, thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Hi. Hello. I'm on this side, the other side of the room.
Oh,
I know you guys can't see.
we can't see.
Right.
Yeah, I know. I guess my question is, did you ever have somebody that you was your main suspect in your mind?
You know, whoever did this was an evil, evil person. And I said, and that was a question I was asked, of course, early on. Do you have anybody you think did this? And I said, I don't think I've ever been around anybody that could have been this evil. We got a lot of leads that came to us because, frankly, the police wouldn't respond. And there are probably a handful of people that I didn't know, but circumstantially, you think, gosh, that's pretty compelling. In fact, there was one fellow that came on the radar and went through the circumstantial information. I said, that's the guy. And my attorney said, whoa, 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 slow down. You know, we don't know that. Don't do a Boulder Police on us. We don't know yet. And I thought, you know, you're right. You can't rush to judgment. So there's been a number of people that came on the radar that you think this needs to be looked at. And, you know, Lou Smith was the detective that was brought out of retirement to work on this case by the district attorney. And he developed a database that's just an amazing treasure of information and sadly, Lou died 12 years ago. But his database is organized by all the leads that came in his opinion, which ones are the most significant.
Over here.
And, I see you, sorry. And so you know, his family and some of his retired detective friends are methodically going through that list from top to bottom and focusing on DNA, and either they believe that the killer is on this list, but it's a long list. It's several hundred names.
I think that both John and I believe that the best way to find the killer is for Boulder Police to test the minuscule amount of DNA still remaining for genealogy. even though it's been 7 years since that technology came out, and the technology has improved. Boulder police are refusing to test the DNA for genealogy, and it's just something that you can't accept. Why? Because there's no reason why. And I believe that that's why this petition, I don't know how many of you know about it, but this petition was started yesterday, and it asked the Colorado governor to take the DNA part of the case away from Boulder Police and give it to an independent agency so that some progress can be made on this testing. And if I could just give this to you and you write it into your phones, the address for that is change.org/justice for JBR. And JBR stands for JonBenet. And if you could toggle that up and vote and pass it along to those you love and don't love, it would be such help. That's the one thing you can do to help the case and JonBenet.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
Thank you.
That would be greatly appreciated and could very well move the ball forward, and that's what's needed.
Next.
Good afternoon. So I've followed this case from the beginning, and the one thing that always intrigued me was the idea of JonBenet telling one of the friends at a Christmas party that Santa was going to come visit her.
Yeah.
And then you had a friend that played Santa Claus, and he came out seemingly with a very close relationship to JonBenet Ramsey. Has he been eliminated as a suspect?
You know, I don't know for sure. That was very significant. We actually got a call, or our investigators got a call within a few weeks of JonBenet's murder from someone in, I think it was London, that said, there's a man here that's acting very strange, claiming he knew JonBenet, and they said, something's wrong here. And it was Santa Claus. And that was like, holy mackerel. So he apparently left town shortly after JonBenet was murdered, went to Europe. I don't know if he's been eliminated or not. The only way that you really, and he, I think, died.
He died in 2004, and it was thought by the attorneys for John and Patsy that he was not physically capable of hurting her so badly because he had a very serious heart condition.
Yeah.
But
well, the other element that made it interesting was that he and his wife had written a book, a fiction book, and it pretty much paralleled what happened to JonBenet, which I don't know.
To their daughter. To their daughter, right?
I believe so, yeah. So, but I don't know if his DNA was ever tested, which is the key. I just don't know. I mean, police.
Yeah, his DNA was
tell us.
tested. It was negative.
Okay, didn't know that. But he was certainly one that came on the radar that was very circumstantially suspicious.
Just one of the really bizarre aspects of this case. And Santa Claus fit right into that weird, illogical genre that is the case. Next?
Yes.
Hi. Yesterday, over here on your right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yesterday in your segment, John, you said you kind of subscribed to the John E. Douglas's theory that JonBenet wasn't taken because that person wanted JonBenet. They wanted to hurt you because they were like either envious of your life or angry at you.
Yeah.
So do you have any theories as to why JonBenet was taken versus Burke, for example? Like, was there a proximity or smaller child?
No, I don't. That's a good question. I don't know. You know, Lou Smith, who was the detective that worked on this for the DA for years, felt it was a kidnapping gone wrong. And someone pointed out to me yesterday that that's not really in conflict with John Douglas's theory, that it was someone that wanted to hurt me. I'd never thought about that. So the two theories of two very competent investigators really aren't mutually exclusive.
Mm-hmm. Right.
But I don't know. I don't know. Why didn't they kill me if they really were angry at me? That would have been better, quite frankly. But this is a deranged person, without a doubt, and they don't think like we do, and so you can't logically look at things and say, why do they do that? It doesn't make sense. So that's because they're crazy.
Yeah. And evil.
And evil, absolute evil. I asked our attorneys, I said, well, could somebody have hired somebody to do this? And they said, no, you cannot hire someone to murder a child, period. In fact, they told me, they said, when they catch this creature, they'll ask you, what penalty you want us to seek, life imprisonment or the death penalty? They said, don't worry about it. He will not last 2 years or 2 weeks in prison, because even prisoners, felons, have a standard, and they won't tolerate the murder of a child.
The most abused people in prison are child abusers, because the other inmates usually have a very tough background, and it's their way to get even. They won't allow these people amongst themselves.
Yeah.
Next.
Hi, I have a question about Burke, but not a rude question or anything like that. My question is as a parent. How were you able to kind of not shield him from the media, but because obviously his name was always out there, but you don't see pictures of him. How were you able to protect him through that? And then especially in the years where, the conspiracy theory came up about that, and now he's, a young adult. How were y'all able to protect him from that?
Well, it was difficult. We had challenges like, how do we get him to school without being photographed? Because we were afraid, we were frightened and fearful for Burke's life. We didn't know who did this and what their next step might be. But we would put him in the back seat of a car on the floor, and one of our friends would be the decoy, depart, and then we'd take Burke in another car. We had our friends in Burke's school set up they called it a Burke Watch, and they volunteered to be in school, in the classroom, in the back of the classroom, with like a automatic call button for the police, just as a safety measure. And these people did it just on their own time, and they were there every moment that Burke was in class. And a Japanese film crew did come into the school quite aggressively. They pushed the button, which was supposed to call the police. Police never came. But we wanted to keep Burke's picture out of the media for his safety. We just didn't know what this creature had in mind, and for our family. And in a way, it was kind of it was a diversion that kept us from just falling into grief. We had to deal with these crazy issues, and it was almost a distraction, when in a way it was maybe a good thing, because it forced us to do something. And obviously Burke, we wanted to protect him, and then throughout the next years, we wanted him to have as normal a childhood as he could, and for the most part that worked pretty good. He was on the swim team of his high school, and a tabloid did get his picture, and said, "Oh, this kid's a real hunk." We're like, "Well, I guess if you're gonna get publicity, that's probably okay." But anyway, but Burke's turned out great. I'm so proud of him, and very resilient and good young man.
Yes?
Hello, thank you. Can you hear me well? I have just a quick thank you so much for being here,
Oh,
you guys, both of you. And the session yesterday was really eye-opening. I have something that I wasn't sure if it was correct or not. I heard it on a podcast. It was stated that the initials signed on the ransom note was somehow the initials of a club or association that you had been a part of in your past, Mr. Ramsey. I don't know if that's correct or not.
Well, there was speculation. I mean, there were two things other than this bizarre 3-page ransom note. One was the $118,000 requested for a ransom. It was like, why 118? Why not $1 million? Why not 500,000? Why not? That's a weird number. That means something to the killer. And then the way the note was signed, SBTC, there's been a number of theories. One was in, I think it's Psalm 118, Saved by the Cross, SBTC. One of the people of interest signed their yearbook when they were in high school, SBTC. The other one was Santa Barbara Tennis Club. I don't know where that came from, but it made no sense. The one that was really, that I was just totally discountable, said, well, that's Subic Bay Training Center. And I was stationed in the Navy in Subic Bay, the Philippines. Well, there was no such thing as Subic Bay Training Center. Right. It didn't exist. It was just somebody just made it up and said, that must be what it was. So I don't know to this day really what that signature, it meant something to the killer, but I don't know what it is.
Thank you.
Going. Okay. Oh, there we go. There we go. Hi. I want to thank you very much for letting us see the human side of John Ramsey instead of the media side of John Ramsey.
Thank you. You folks have been so uplifting to me. It's been a real blessing to be here.
It's very nice to meet you.
Thank you. Thank you very, very much. It's just been wonderful.
So my question is, honestly, how free do you feel to live your life now and go forward without being under a microscope? Do you feel like you could just have everything normal?
Yes, yeah, we really do. You know, people, even, and I may have said this yesterday, but throughout this whole ordeal for us, people have been wonderful to us. You know, the media's been horrible, the police have been horrible, but people have been wonderful. Stop us at the street, give us hugs, just overwhelming kindness, and that's been very uplifting, and that's certainly what we felt being here. But the media is, you know, our house was surrounded by the media for 24 hours a day for probably a couple of years when we went back to Atlanta, which was our home. And they were waiting for the police to come and arrest us so they could have it on live TV. And of course, that never happened. But then they kind of got tired of that. And then they pooled resources. So it wouldn't be 6 channels or whatever, 3, be
you
one.
Notice he's looking at me.
I'm sorry, I know you're in the media, but there were some really incredible journalists we met. You know, it's like they're not all bad at all.
Or good.
Or good, yeah. That's true of any profession. But so they would pool one camera and say, okay, if we get something juicy, we'll share it. That went on for a while, but that ended, and yeah, we feel totally normal, and you know, rarely, I guess because I'm getting older, but people don't really say, aha, you know, I know who you are. Once in a while they say, did I see you in the car wash yesterday? Or, you know, they kind of look familiar, but they're not sure why. you have a child in such elementary school? No, not me. So, but people have always been kind to us, and it's really opened my eyes to the need to be compassionate to our fellow humans, because everybody's carrying a burden. I've learned that too. Life's not easy. So, yes.
Okay.
Hi, Mr. Ramsey. First of all, I just want to tell you how sorry I am for everything you and your family have been through. It just must have been an absolute living hell. And thank you for coming here today.
Thank you.
A quick two-part question. Paula, yesterday you said that 30 people matched the ransom note more than Patsy. I've never heard that statistic, and I find it fascinating. I'd like to know where that came from. And the second question was, Mr. Ramsey, you told us yesterday that you have gone broke because of this. And that's unfair in itself, but you also said something many years ago that you were going to spend your last dime to find this killer, to do what it took to find this killer. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if you can tell us what you've done. I know you had a foundation, and tell us what you have done to further the investigation, because it obviously cost you a great deal. Thank you.
You're welcome. Do you want to answer your question first?
Just tell me what I said. Did I say 30? I didn't quite hear you.
Yeah, yesterday you said there were 30 people that matched the ransom note more than Patsy.
The information came from a police detective on the scene, and it came out after the Vanity Fair article. I don't know how many of you know about that, but that was in the fall of 1997. The constant drumbeat of misinformation from the Boulder police officers was that Patsy Ramsey matched the handwriting, was close to the handwriting. A female wrote the handwriting. After the Vanity Fair article came out, which had so much misinformation, one of the police detectives said, hey, look, we've tested approximately 70 people, and half of them are more likely than Patsy, and half of them have simply not been completely cleared. Completely cleared can mean a lot of different things. In Patsy's case, she scored from 6 analysts, 4.5 out of 5. 5 meaning she didn't write the note. So does that answer your question?
Do you know who the police officer was? Because like I
The
said,
police detective?
Yeah, the detective. I've never heard. I mean, that should be out there. There are a lot of people.
There's a lot of things that should be out there. Yes, I know who it was, but it was a sourced information.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Thank you. John?
On my question, John Douglas, the FBI founder of the whole profiling program, the FBI, we got to know fairly well. And he said, most victims of violent crime end up broke, regardless of where they started. And he said, you're dealing with the justice system, which is difficult, is expensive. And I found that you also make bad decisions when you're in this shock of loss. I wrote in my last book, I said, if you don't do anything else, or you don't take any other advice, if you have a tragedy in your life, give your checkbook to a trusted friend and don't do anything unless they approve it. Because you make bad decisions. You sell your house, you quit your job, and we made lots of them. I said we were nearly broke. There was a point where we got down to not a whole lot of money in the bank. And as it was after Patsy died, she had stage 4 ovarian cancer. I had lost my job. We didn't have health insurance. That was quite an expensive thing, which was fine. But what we've done, and I've debated how to, for example, we've offered to the police, we'll pay for DNA testing, we'll pay for this familial DNA effort, and of course they declined. Lou Smith's family, daughter particularly, basically took Lou's database of information, which is a wonderful gift he left. And several of his retired detective friends formed a group to work these leads, work these names, go through them. And they've been doing that for, gosh, the last 6 years, maybe, something like
Probably
that.
4 to 6.
It's been a long while. They continue at it. And they have a GoFundMe page that's set up to help pay for DNA testing, because their process is to go through each of these leads that Lou thought were very priority people of interest and get their DNA and see if it matched. And if it didn't match, they go off the list. And they've gone through, I think, I don't know how many, but it's not easy. It takes time to, and normally they just ask for it. They say, you're on the list. I'm not sure that's fair, but we want to, address this. And if you would give us your DNA, we'll check it and take you off the list. And I think most have been, I shouldn't say most, some have been responsible, have been responsive to that. Some have said, no way.
Some of them sent DNA back.
Yeah.
Not a lot.
Yeah, so you have to figure out how to get their DNA otherwise. But so we've helped fund that. Fortunately, a good friend of mine, in fact, Mike, who was the one at the home we were staying at early on and was the one that said, let me do some things that are necessary here. And I said, yes, please. And he hired 2 attorneys, and that's where the attorneys came from. He was an attorney himself, had worked in the district attorney's office in Boulder. And anyway, he helped me get some work, and that's why we ended up in Utah, to have a job. And it's been, we've been there for 10 years and been able to kind of rebuild our lives. So that's kind of where things are. We have a reward that we offered early on. The police would not post it. And in my mind, that's still a valid offer. We offered a $100,000 reward. And, there was a time when I couldn't have paid that reward, but I had friends that I knew that would support me if it came to that. So that's still in place.
I don't know which